All right, hey guys. So again, we're here with my coach and friend Aaron Jannetti. He was in this weekend. He did a whole close quarter combat with gun and knife. So today he's going to show and demonstrate a couple of things he went over on the seminar. Make sure you guys, if you like this stuff, please subscribe. Check out Aaron Jannetti. So I'll hand it over to him and he can go through what he did.
Yeah, so, different systems, programs like that, like they all have answers to gun disarms and grabs and all that type of stuff. One of the things that we do when we talk about gun defense is we want to understand that even though in a lot of systems, like, get my fights in, like that's gonna happen. So, but if he points the gun at me, like, let's take like a basic Krav Maga or standard Krav Maga look where like I, redirect, control, I make my strike, I come down in, I grab, I do my disarm. If anything goes wrong in the middle of that, we're probably going to find ourselves fighting over the gun, right? It's very rare that it's going to look like, wow, bang, like break away like we get into. It's good to practice that, but I want to be ready for a contingency. So what'll sometimes happen as we go is like, as I'm going to maybe make my punch, he starts fighting. He starts stepping back, stepping away. So I have to start establishing grips and I have to know how to wrestle over the gun. So that's what we were talking about a lot with our close quarters seminar last night. But we talked about a couple of grips that will give me disarms because they're uncomfortable, but the primary goal of them is just to gain more control during a struggle. So we're gonna look at a couple of really basic ones, common positions you'll find yourself in Krav Maga. So if I have like an outside 2-on-1 grip here, generally speaking in the Krav Maga systems or other systems too, I'm gonna think about like curling this in, I'm gonna think about reaching up and getting a hold of the gun. Usually there's some type of a breakage down in, some type of a stripping, and then maybe a punch or some type of strike from there. But again, like if I get into this and he's tussling and moving and fighting and using his other hand, this isn't a super strong grip right now. So a way that I can reinforce this grip is as I go to grab for the gun, I'm gonna grab for my own arm. And now I have like, we refer to this as like a genie grip, right? The I dream of genie, boo, as we go here. So I'm coming over, boof, and I'm latching onto the gun here. And now I can kind of like hunker down. I can hold this into my chest. If I'm significantly smaller, I'm using like my arms, chest, everything to hold this against his wrist. And if we're struggling over this gun where he's pushing, pulling, ripping, I have a better grip on it. And by this better grip, the more he struggles and the more that I start to move and fight with this, it starts putting a ton of pressure on the wrist, ton of pressure on the hands. So again, like we refer to as our GE grip, right? Getting into here, I'm just using more muscle. If my main concern is not getting shot, gaining control of this during a struggle, this can be a beneficial way to look at it. If I'm on the inside with my underhook, same thing, commonly bang, 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 something along these lines, but I have that genie grip on the outside as well, where I hold into here, okay? If I'm here and I square my hips towards Dennis, I already start to get the same style of disarm, but instead of doing it by having to have like, I guess, arm power, I'm doing it by like crunching in and holding on in the middle of a struggle. So if I were to find myself here and he starts fighting with me over this, I have to tussle in, I can grab that gun, I can get this grip that's a little bit stronger, and now during the fight I have a little more security on it. So again, we're looking at more along the lines of like, how do I secure the grip on the weapon while also creating leverage on his hand versus just doing a disarm, all right? So that's one. And then the other ones we were talking about is like, we get into these grips, and these aren't necessarily super solid grips, right? They have to like, you have to respond on these really fast, but you'll see them commonly like, oh crap, boom, I grab onto the gun, or oh crap, boom, I grab onto the gun, whether it's inside or outside. So again, we were just looking at ways that we can reinforce this. If my arm's under, so again, if I'm outside 2-on-1, or if I did one of these numbers to try to pry, maybe I go to do this and it doesn't come out of Dennis's hand. He responds, he turns, he squares, he makes an effort. Well, again, I'm still fighting with one hand here. If he starts putting the other hand on the gun, that can become a problem. A lot of other things can happen. So one thing that I can go as I'm fighting over this position is I can actually snake this hand underneath this wrist to create extra reinforcement. And again, you can already see it's a lot of pressure on him, right? And all I'm doing is just reinforcing grips as I go in. I'm not looking to do the disarm. The disarm will most likely happen during the struggle. I'm looking to secure the weapon. I'm holding on to it. I don't like how this is going. I get a little bit of an extra grip on it and it sucks, right? Especially if I'm kind of like scooping his finger into it, which is a little bit of an incidental, but it happens. Then during the struggle, there's a solid chance the gun kind of pries free. So there's an option as far as that goes. Some things that'll happen, like we kind of mess up and we end up over top, right into here. So it's the same exact idea. I'm gonna come through, I'm gonna find like a Kimura grip to be able to establish, to get control here. This gives me a better base and grip on this. I can go to square, and then if I really want to take this away from him, I start to turn my hips in, and I just get my elbow to jump the tracks, and I can pull in. Ready to go. So it kind of sucks. But if I'm in a struggle, and I anticipate a struggle, how do I get a better grip on the gun?
Right.
And it's like, what are some maybe fundamental ways, fundamental principles that I can latch on the gun a little bit better? So super fast recap. We got our I Dream of Genie grip. Inside or outside, right? Grab the gun, grab the biceps, jump the tracks, pop, 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 run there. And then I've got my like snaking, right? Inside pinch, right? Or my over the top where I go into my grip here and I'm holding on. And again, like this can be over, this can be under, theoretically speaking, it shouldn't necessarily matter, right? So we're just securing that position, getting it a better maybe grip on the weapon. And then we can address whatever we need to address. Like, yes, there's striking opportunities. Maybe the gun comes out, maybe I hit him, I don't know. We see what happens, right? So
No, it's some great stuff. It was a great seminar.
yeah.